This is the experimentation we're here for.
Hey, man. Okay. Wait. Okay. This thing is different. This has got to figure that thing out. I'll just hold it. Oh my God! Did I break it?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
You're good.
Thank God, because I know I'm a broke artist. I don't think I'd be able to afford to replace whatever the hell that is.
We're all broke
It probably came
artists.
from China, and so there's a tax on that now, isn't there? All right. So,
Very true.
how y'all doing tonight?
We're good.
My name is Michelle, and I'm an alcoholic. Oh, wait a minute, wrong room. Well, I remember when I was a kid, I remember somebody was really super upset, and I made them laugh, and they were crying, and they laughed through tears, and it was the greatest feeling in the world. And so I'm going to see if I can tell you a story. Okay, let me see. All right. Well, I thought I was good at shoplifting, but I have like 7 or 9 shoplifting convictions. So I'm pretty sure that I'm not actually very good at it. Well, I don't know. I do know that I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I went over to hang out with her because she has endocrine cancer, and it metastasized to some other part of her body, which we all know that that's kind of a death sentence. So I was like, I want to see if I can make her laugh, right? So we got to talking, and she was telling me how she used to love cocaine, and I was like, you know what? So did I. I used to love cocaine a lot. As a matter of fact, I loved it so much that I went and bought a piece from a cop, and when you get crack, you put it underneath your tongue. And as soon as I gave him my money and I got that little soap and I put it in there, I realized it was soap and I spit it past him, and we laughed and laughed and laughed about that. It was hilarious. It doesn't seem to be very funny right now, though. I don't know. I'm not very good at this. I got to get up here and just be myself because that's what's supposed to make it funny. But, I am not exactly a super educated person, okay? I was dropped on my head when I was like 3 or 6 months old. I got a crack in my skull. And it was deep enough that you could put your pinky in it, you know.
Damn.
So I have a traumatic brain injury, okay? So I went to get tested to see if I'd be a good candidate for autism, and they said I probably had too much brain damage. So my son told me, because he just got diagnosed, and he told me, he said, "That's okay, Mom. It's okay that you're too retarded to be tested for autism." And his wife said, "Now, hey, wait a minute. You shouldn't talk to your mom like that." I was laughing. And she was like, "You shouldn't talk to your mom like that." And he said, "Now listen to me, hear me out." He said, "If you're going to get tested for autism and your brain is too damaged to be tested for autism, then you're retarded." So I was like, all right, cool, sign me up. Because the more people who think I'm retarded, the less people are going to expect from me, I think, I wish I was retarded. If they're okay, that's a really not very nice word. So I really wish that I was more challenged in my mind. Like everybody could see it. Maybe I could draw myself a little or something, so that people would be like, oh, look at her chasing her dreams. Don't never give up. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I just realized everybody was looking at me and I got really uncomfortable.
Good. Hey, you're good.
That's good. That's really good. Because I just actually left an AA meeting. And I was like, this is what's going on in my life today. I'm trying not to respond to somebody's madness and craziness. And I'm trying not to get sucked into the trap of the... I'm trying to be nice. Okay, of the bag of dicks, okay? I have a bag of dicks. I used to have 2 bag of dicks, but then the first ex-husband died. Now I just got the 1 bag of dicks, okay? And so, anything you can say to somebody that you've already been divorced from, they're going to somehow turn that around. So you know what I decided to do today? Wait a minute, back up. I saw this post the other day that said, if you really want to scare them, don't say anything. If you're surrounded by the noise, then maybe you should whisper. So, totally forgot what I was going to say. That's really embarrassing. I got this whole thing planned out in my head, and then I started talking about it, and then it was like, oh, there's that brain damage. Yay! Okay, so there's traps that people set for you. It's like, if you go through your life and you don't have real boundaries or anything like that, and then you try and set boundaries with people, it kind of freaks them out. Oh, that's right. Whenever the noise is too loud, then whisper. So, wait, I guess I don't have anything to say. I don't have to respond. I forgot. That's the beauty of divorce. Like, I used to think that I had to explain myself to everyone all the time. And I still kind of feel that way sometimes. Like, explain. But you know what? I'm touched. You know, like, a little bit touched in the head. You know, like, special. Like, I should probably wear a helmet. I've had like 10 concussions, and I'm not just like drooling on myself, laughing about it, and thinking it's really great. So, that's good. Ooh, I can hear crickets. Can you guys hear crickets? All right, so I was packing stuff up to get things done. Okay, this whole situation is I'm lost. I'm all over the place. I'm gonna just go to the doctor. Just go to the doctor with me. Okay, my oldest daughter has autism. I can make jokes about it, but I'm not allowed to mention her name, so that we know that. And so I'm just helping to stay to the rules and just keep to the rules. But so she's got an autoimmune disease, and it almost killed her like 6 years ago through pneumonia. And I'm amongst these doctors, right? And we're going to her last checkup. And the doctor had a shadow, and the guy was like, can you pronounce my name? Telling my daughter, can you pronounce my name? It was like Oham or something like that. And I said it right the first time. And then he was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. You pronounced that perfectly. And I was like, cool. And then he was asking my daughter, like, do you know what nationality I might be? And she's like, what's a nationality? And he was explaining it to her. And I just looked at him and I said, Turkey. And oh my God, you can see these doctors' mind literally blow. And their what do you call it? Degrees and stuff, you can see them burst into flames. How did she know that? And so they were like, how did you know that? And I was like, I don't know. You know how there's usually brain activity whenever you talk? Not me. I can just open my mouth and shit just flies out there and I have no idea where it came from. So I guess God told me maybe. I don't know. You know, have you ever seen those people walking down the street and you're like, oh, look at them talking to themselves. But we don't know. We're in the Bible Belt right now, people. They could be talking to Jesus. You know? They really could. And not everybody that needs medication has medication, but sometimes you have to just let it ride, you know? I used to be fat. I used to be like a really fat chick. Like I was 100 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I remember I saw one of my daughter's friends, one of my youngest daughter's friends, and I went over to her house to get the friend, to pick up the friend. Wait, oh my God, stick my foot in my mouth. I went over to the friend's house to pick up my daughter, and the dad was, I thought, sleeping on the couch. I see him like 10 years later. I see the guy, and he was like, "Oh, wow, hey, how are you? I remember you." And I was just like, I thought you were sleeping on the couch. Like he was laying there asleep. I thought, how could he recognize me? But that's, balance issues. It's a good thing I'm not drinking, huh? Oh. You know what? You have to suck to be good. And I was praying. I was like, okay, God, if you want me to be a stand-up comedian, then I need you to show me how to do it. And then there was this documentary on Paramount Plus about this stand-up. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm listening. And then the lady gets on there and she's like, well, just like everything, you have to suck at it to be really good. Well, there's a few things that I suck at that I'm really good at, okay? You know what I'm talking about, ladies. And my dad, I told my dad, I said, I think I have your sense of humor. And he said, what, really? I didn't think I had one. But my parents are divorced, and some of this shit you can't make up, people. My mom's name is Wanda, and my stepmom's name is Wanda.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So the grandkids say, well, can you number them or something so that we can tell them apart? And he said, Wanda number 1, Wanda number 2. And they said, okay, well, which one's Wanda number 2? And he's like, the girls' mom is Wanda number 2. I mean, the girls' mom is Wanda number 1 because I married her first. And Nana, the one that's married to now, he said, well, she'll be number 2. Yeah. And technically she would be the 3rd because he married my mom, divorced my mom, married my mom again, and then divorced her again, and then married the other Wanda. So it was like, I'm confused. But either way, there's this guy I was working with, and his name was Terrence, or no, it was DeMarcus is what his name was. And I could never remember, and I kept calling him Curtis. And he was like, why don't you call me by my name? I'm like, because I'm not really good at names. And he said, oh, okay. Well, then one day I had a really bad day because I had to deal with people. And because, I really do think I'm funny. It's just that, when people, I'm scared of people. It's kind of an occupational hazard, right? So anyway, I totally forgot what I was talking about. That was awesome. Let's see. I can regulate myself here. As soon as my hip, as long as my hip don't go out. Anyway, so I had a really off day, and I came in, and I was just like kind of in a bad mood. So I just put my earbuds in. I was just doing my work, and he was like, "What's up with you today, Wanda?" And I said, "Oh no, never Wanda. You can call me anything, but never Wanda." I said, "My mom's name is Wanda. My stepmom's name is Wanda. I am not Wanda." So then he says, "Oh, perfect, Wanda number 3. And I'm just like, you have no idea how funny that is right now, And I was like, no, not Wanda number 3. But I got permission from Wanda number 2 to tell the joke. So there you go. At least I have somebody's permission, right? It's like, whenever you're a comedian, you get to tell jokes and stuff like that. And it's like, well, what do you do if you offend somebody? Well, awesome. I'm in the Bible Belt. If I'm offending people, then the chances are somebody's going to be praying for me, right? So I got it. I'm good to go, right? As you get older, you have to do some medical tests. The medical tests are always so much fun, right? So I had to go in and get a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. It's kind of weird they would call that. It seems like that would be the endoscopy, but whatever. So every time I've ever had any kind of procedure like that, they always roll me in head first. This lady rolled me in feet first. I said, wait a minute. I said, do you know me? Do I know you? She said, no, I don't think so. I said, have I cut you off in traffic? She said, no, I don't think so. I said, what kind of car do you drive? And she told me, I can't remember now. I was like, she's like, why? What kind of car do you drive? And I told her, she's like, I don't think I've ever seen a car like that color. And I was like, okay, cool. And she's like, why do you ask? I said, because typically whenever you have these kind of exams, they roll your head in first, and you rolled my feet in first, and I just want to make sure that I didn't piss you off and then wake up with somebody's butthole juice in my throat. I felt like that's stuff that needs to be discussed, okay? Because I don't want somebody else's butthole juice in my throat. And they're just cameras that come from the ceiling, you know what I mean? Like, how sanitary is it really? It only takes one time. It only takes one time. Yeah, somebody's butthole juice in your throat, and you're just like, ah. Which is kind of interesting because I worked with my aunt. I'm one of those kind of, we do it ourselves. We learn how to do stuff, and so her and I, we re-piped all of the pipes in the plumbing of a trailer that the pipes bursted in. And we got done, we worked out there all day, and then we got done, she's like, I am so hungry, I could eat the butthole out of the skunk. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, dude, I've been homeless and lived on the street, and I've never been hungry enough to eat the butthole out of anything. And I was telling my son that, and he was like, people really do that. And I'm like, no, they don't. And he's like, oh yeah. And he Googled it and showed it to me. I was like, oh my God, people eat other people's butthole. That's really weird. But hey, whatever does it for you. You know what I mean? That wouldn't really be my cup of tea. But I'm not everybody's cup of tea either. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I'm not a cup of tea. But whatever. Some of that stuff doesn't make any sense. And some of it does, but it's not really funny. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could. Luckily, whenever I thought I locked the door in the bathroom, and luckily, whenever I didn't lock the door, I had already finished my business and pulled up my pants before somebody came in. So that kept us both from being embarrassed. Nothing. Okay. All right. So that was pretty good practice. I'll probably be back next week.
Excellent practice.